Hi everybody, and welcome back to Sew Along with Jan and the Kimberbell Mini Quilts. And this is the one for July, so this is the new pack. I will have the link for the new pack available on our website, the Shield Sewing Center. .com website if you have not got your July through December mini quilt patterns. So we are starting a new set of 6. So this is July, and what's cool about the July one is they actually made 2 versions of it. So if you're from Canada, they did a Canadian version as well. So there's a couple of different designs, and they did them in like different colors for you. So there's a USA colorway, and then there's the next page over is the Canadian one. So there's a few extra, there's a couple of extra couple different colors in the Canadian one. And so I thought that was really neat that they did that for everybody so that there's some different colors for the Canadians. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the fabrics here. We've done a few of these now, so I think everybody's getting to be pretty good at, doing the cutting and everything. And the cutting is very straightforward on this one. There's not a lot of colors. There's a nice little tan and a white. I didn't have this kind of mint color, but mine's a little bit more light blue, but it's very pretty still. So I just pulled out of my stash the colors. Most of them are plain colors, and then they had one little print, and then they had a little print for the binding. So I just kind of picked things out that were close in color and for mine. And then what I did is I always just go through this little list then, and I cut out the size of each piece that they say you need. And I actually, like I just pull out of my stash, so I just mostly had scraps. And then after I get all done cutting, I like to sort my design or my colors into my fabrics into little piles for what block they go with. So I have my little pile here for my watermelon block. We're going to do that one first. And then here's the one for the heart block with my peach colored fabric, and then there's not a whole lot of applique. These are going to be very straightforward fun blocks, so I think you'll really have fun with these. So here's the heart block, here's the popsicles. Again, we're doing the USA colorway this time. And then here's the popsicles block, and then here's my rocket block. Okay, so that's all my little fabrics, and I've got them all readied with shape flex on the back, and I'll show you that in the instructions as we go along. And then I also prepared my binding and my backing. So my backing is going to be that pretty light blue. And I like to put shape flex on the back of my backing also, just to keep it, when I go to stitch in the ditch, it keeps my backing much smoother, and it doesn't pucker when I sew on it. So I really like that. And then I make a sleeve, and this is my sleeve. This is not in the instructions, and I've been making a sleeve for each one of mine because I'm hanging it in my little stand, or you could hang it from like a little bar hanger that you hang on the wall. So my sleeve is 6 by 12 inches, and we'll talk about this in the assembly as well. But that's my little sleeve, and I like to match my backing with that. And then I didn't have that little print for the binding, but I had something else that was white that had a little print on it, and I had this little like navy blue polka dot, and I thought, well, that's kind of cute, so I'll put that on as the binding. Okay, so there's my fabrics, and let's talk a little bit about the thread. And what I do then with my threads is I like to go and just match my fabrics. So I just took my little fabrics here, and I went through. Let's get to the page where the threads are. I think it's the page ahead. Here we go. So they give you the threads in both the colorways for the USA and the Canada. And so I just take my fabrics and kind of match my threads to my fabric. So there's a red, and these are my brother threads. So I used 800 red. So that's this one. And I just used white, 001 white, a taupey color, and I matched that little stem color that goes around the for the popsicles. And mine was actually called warm gray. It's $3.99 warm gray. And then this mint color for mine, I wanted it to be kind of match this color that I'm going to be I'm going to be quilting with that. So mine is actually called light blue, even though it's more of a green. It's called light blue, and this one's 1226 light blue. These are the brother colors. And then charcoal, I can't find my dark gray. So I would have used dark gray, which is a brother color. But for some reason, I have lost my dark gray. So I have to get another one. So I'm going to use black. I figure black will be good enough. It's going to be very close in color. So I'm just going to use 900 black. The light green, there's going to be like a watermelon rind. So I used a number 027 fresh green because it's not a real dark green. And then the blue, the navy blue, is going to be kind of going around the top of our like popsicles. And I think the little rocket has some of that color in it. So I just matched my blue, and this is called gem blue, so 1043 gem blue. So that's how I pick my colors. Oh, and then that lighter blue here, I wanted it to match for my quilting, so that is actually just, yeah, 10 or 017 light blue. So I just picked one out that would match this fabric. It doesn't talk about that in the instructions, but I wanted this to match for my quilting. So, and then I think I've got one for this pink also, and that one was, let's see, I've got it here somewhere. I forgot to write it down. Oh yeah, here. I used flesh pink 124 for that pinkish peachy color to do the quilting. So then I have my quilting threads as well. Okay. So I've got all these ready, and I've got them marked at what we're going to do. And I think the first block is the watermelon block. So I'll leave that one out, and then we're going to do the other three. I think I'm going to do two blocks in this video and 2 blocks in a second video, and then we'll put it together. So, all right. So we talked a little bit about the fabrics, and like I said, I just like to put them together so they're all together. And then each one of the blocks as we go along, I'll talk about the shape flex. Most of the time you put the shape flex on the back, for sure, on the back of your background fabric. And I think most of these actually ask you to put it on all of the fabrics. I just unthreaded my machine, so I might as well thread it back up again here. Let's see. So let's go ahead and let's look at the watermelon block. So this is the first one, and there's a USA and a Canadian version. So they kind of did it in slightly different color scheme. So the USA one's going to have blue lettering, and the Canadian one is more of a pink lettering. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same on this one. And then also, when in the instructions, I don't know if you can see this very well, but in the instructions here, can you see that they have like 2 different sets of colors here? So they made the outside one is for USA, and the inside one is for the Canadian colors. So they put both colors on those blocks that are going to be different. Okay? All right. So the other thing I wanted to talk to you about briefly is I did not buy the quilting designs for this set. They were kind of expensive, so I just decided not to buy them. I have tons of their Kimberbell quilting designs, so I just went through and found ones that were similar to what they use. So like the first one was a wavy one, so I have like 6 wavy designs, so I just picked wavy 3. So I'm going to use wavy 3. They call for wavy 7. It's a little bit different. Wavy 3 is similar to it. I just thought that's the one I like, so I'm going to do that. So it's absolutely fine if you have other designs, just do that. And then the other one, I think there's 2 blocks done with wavy, and 2 blocks were done with one called food 6, because it has like a in the food thing, and has like a popsicle in it. Well, there is another one that has a popsicle in it, and it's food 1. So I went ahead and I'm going to use food 1 for mine because I had that one already. So we're just going to use 2 different quilting designs for this one, and they're not going to be the ones that they call for. Okay, so that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about. The other thing I want to talk to you about is that these blocks, if you have a 6 by 10 hoop, are going to be a little tough because of the quilting. The quilting designs are 6.5 by 6.5. They finish 6 by 6. So if you have a smaller hoop, if you watch my video that I did for Sweet Land of Liberty, I showed you how to remove the placement line and the tack down line for the fabric. If you remove the last two, or steps 3 and 4 in the quilting designs, if you have a 6x10 hoop, if you remove steps 3 and 4 and just tape your fabric down on the edges, it'll be absolutely fine. That will take out the design. The design will be small enough to fit in your 6x10 hoop. So I would highly recommend that. You don't need very much software to do that. And I wanted to take this opportunity to tell you about Dime having a new software that's very reasonable. So if you just need some basic software to do editing, some lettering, changing colors, doing this type of thing, taking out a couple pieces of the design because you can group and ungroup in it, Dime has a new software that is going to be on our website, and it's called Embroidery Tool Shed Plus, and it's up on the shieldsewingcenter.com website, and I will link it in this video, in the description of this video, and it's $129.99. It's a wonderful basic tool if you just need some basic operations. So I talk a lot about doing this little operation with the quilting designs, and if you have the opportunity to purchase that software, please do, because that would give you so much help, and it's not very expensive, and it runs on both PC and Mac. Okay, so that is Embroidery Tool Shed Plus is what it's called. So that's one way you can do that. And if you watch my video from Sweet Land of Liberty, I show you how to remove those two pieces, the steps 3 and 4, that cause the 6x6 designs to be too large for a 6.5 or a 6x10 hoop. So hopefully that makes sense, and I will link all of this in the description below the video. All right. So now we're ready to start sewing. I've been really anxious to do this one. It is so cute. And let's see. So I am going to use, since I have a larger machine, I am using my 8x8 hoop then, because that will accommodate that 6.5 by 6.5 inch embroidery or quilting design. And so I've got that, and then I've got my no-show mesh stabilizer loaded in my hoop. I have bobbin thread in the bobbin. And then the first watermelon design is done on this blue fabric. So I have my light blue thread in my needle, because that's what we're going to use for the quilting. So the first thing we're going to do is bring in our quilting design. So give me a second here. So remember, we're not using the ones that they recommend, because I don't have those, and I just decided I'm going to use some of the ones I have. So we're going to go to embroidery. We're going to go down here to my stick, and it is the first thing we're going to do is bring in our quilting design. So I'm going to go to Kimberbell Quilting, and this one is called Wavy 3. So of course it's way at the very bottom, so I just have to keep going until I get to the bottom. Whoops. Sorry, I get a little slap happy sometimes with my scrolling here. Oh, come on. There he goes. Kimberbell Quilting. Go all the way to the bottom. Wavy, wavy, wavy. Okay, here, we're getting close. Wavy, I did Wavy 3. So Wavy 3 is the one I chose, and I'm going to go Embroidery Files, PES, and I just thought this one was cool, and this one recommended the horizontal design. So we need one that's going to be the 6x6, so there should be a 6x6, so we'll find it here. 4x4, 4x6. 6x6, so it's right here, 6x6, and that's the horizontal one. So I'm going to pick that one, and as you can see up here on the top, it comes in 6.5 by 6.5 then. So I'm gonna hit set on that, so that's going to be under our design, and then we're going to go into add down here, and we're going to go get our watermelon design. So we're going to go back to my stick, and Mini Quilts Volume 2, July through December. I'm going to go into the embroidery designs, PES, and July, and we're going to go get the watermelon. Here's the watermelon, 5x7. Okay, so it's going to come in sideways. So your wavy thing, even though it said horizontal, Let's see, it said horizontal, but let me look in the picture if they actually have it. This one was kind of weird. I really think I need to do, I think they have it running the other way. Well, no, they don't. They have it up and down. They do have it up and down. So we are going to run this one up and down. That's fine. It does, either way would be fine. So I think we're going to do that one. I like it. This block comes in sideways. So, and it also says to bring it in centered. And remember, our machines automatically center, so we don't have to do anything. So my little waves are going to be going up and down when it's in the quilt, because we're going to be flipping it this way. So it'll be just fine. Okay. So then I'm going to hit set on that one. And I'm going to hit embroidery. So now we're ready to do our quilting. We also need some batting. Oh, and then I forgot to show you the new embellishment kit. So the embellishment kits are up on ShieldSewingCenter.com. And this is the embellishment kit that is for the rest of the year, July through December. And then, and it's less expensive than the other one was, which is nice. And then this is the one for July. And so we're going to be having some red embroidery leather. I think there's a piece of vinyl in here, and then we're going to be putting some of this little confetti stuff into the popsicles, I believe. So that is the other thing you would need, is this little embellishment kit. Okay, so I got my embellishment kit here, and I've got my July one out, ready to go. All right, so we've done some of these before, so everybody kind of knows the drill now, right? We've done, this is the 7th one. Can you believe it? I've been doing these for 7 months. I can't believe I've actually done that many of them. They're so fun, though. All right. So I've got my watermelon fabric here, and then of course we need batting. So don't forget you need your batting. And I just have a chunk of batting as usual, and I'm just going to hold it up here after I put my placement line down. So we're going to start with the quilting on this first block. So I am going to go ahead and start the first step of the quilting, which is always the placement line for the batting. I'll get ready with my batting here. Oh my, must have a dirty floor. My batting is catching all the threads on my floor here. All right, so, and I put the blue in because that's what I wanted to quilt the block with. So I just put my blue thread in, my light blue, to do the other steps as well. Okay, so we're going to lay this up here. Oops. Second here, I've got a cord in my way I keep catching. Get it out of the way. There we go. Okay, so we're going to lay the chunk of fabric up, our batting up here. And if you want to cut your batting, the batting sizes to cut are in the quilting instructions. But I just use the chunks because it's so much faster than cutting all that batting. Right? You still have to trim it no matter what, that it's just so much faster to do it this way. Because I'm still trimming it no matter what I do. All right. Okay, and so the background, this one also said to have the Shape Flex SF101 or Shape Flex on the back of all the fabrics, and that was only 2 fabrics. It was the watermelon fabric and the background. So I have my Shape Flex on the back of both of those. So we'll just kind of do that as we go through. I often, when I cut my blocks or my fabrics out, I go and look at the blocks separately to see what stabilizers need to be adhered to them. So then you can do that all at the same time if you want. But we'll talk about it as we go through each block. So I got something in there I don't want under my light colored fabric. Now we're going to trim this close to the stitches. Okay, so that was step number 2. We did the tack down. All of the quilting designs are set up the same way. So the first step is the placement line for the batting. The second, you lay your batting down. The second step is the tack down line for the batting. Go. And then the third step is going to be the placement line for the fabric. So if you have that smaller hoop, this is one of the lines that you would remove. it's still is you're not going to have any problems knowing to where to put your fabric down, because obviously it's going to be right over and centered over this batting, right? So if you have that 6x10 and you have a little bit of software like that, you know, that new Embroidery Tool Shed Plus, you can remove this line. This is the line that's 6.5 inches, and that's what causes the problem with the 6x10 hoop. I just have my 8x8 because I have a bigger machine. If anybody has questions about how to do that, please, you know, text me through Facebook or message me through Facebook or ask me on YouTube, because I will be happy to explain it to you, or go watch my video from Sweet Land of Liberty. All right, so there's our placement line for our fabric. Now, technically, you wouldn't have to do that, but the reason I do is there are times when I need that placement line, and if I skip over it, I forget when I really need it to be there, and I forget. So I just always do it. Okay, so here is our blue piece. That's our background. This has my shape flex on the back. This is my piece for my watermelon, and it also has shape flex on the back. All right, so we're going to lay this over the placement line. Hopefully my little, I should have pressed my little, so now we're going to, step number 4 is going to be the tack down line. So again, for the fabric. So this again is one of those steps that would come out if you have that smaller hoop. And what I do then is I just take tape and tape my fabric down to the hoop just to keep it in place, because then the next step is going to be the quilting. All right. And step number 5 is always the quilting. So now we're going to do the quilting. Still got my blue thread in there, and I'm just going to go ahead and do the quilting, and then we'll be ready to start the block. So I'll get this started, and then I'll pause the camera for a moment while it's quilting. It takes a little bit for it to quilt, so. And then I will be right back, and we'll start the block. Okay, so it looks like we're ready to start our block. I've got my design all quilted here. Isn't that cute with the little, and then these are going to be going up and down, so I think that's kind of neat. So we'll have to see how the other one is. If I goofed up and got it going the wrong way, we may have to alter the other one, but we'll look at it. I like them going up and down, and that's kind of the way it looks in the, I can't tell in the design, in the picture very well. It looks like it might be going the other way, but who cares? We'll do it up and down. I like it up and down. All right, so we're going to, we're going to start then with the watermelon. So I'm going to put my red in, and my red thread, and we're going to do, the first step is in the actual block is the placement line for the watermelon. Second here, whoops, here, I've got thread all over. Okay, so we're going to do our watermelon placement lines. I'm going to get my fabric ready here, and then we're going to lay the fabric down and then do the tack downs. So that, it's going to do both of them. I thought it was just the bigger one, but I think it's both of them that it's going to do. Yep, it's going to do both of them as an applique. All right, so we're going to get both of these. I got a little tail sticking up, so I'm going to trim it. Second here. All right, and then we're going to put our, and again, there's shape flex on the back of this as well. I'm going to lay this over my placement lines, and then the next step will be tacking these down. And then we're going to trim them, I think. Yes, trim the fabric close to the stitches. It's going to go around them probably twice. This is going to be cute. This one looks like it's going to be a very fun, easy one. A couple of the last ones had a lot of intense embroidery in it, so it's going to be fun if these are a little bit easier. This one was, there's no embellishments on this one. I think the embellishments were on the popsicles and on the locket, I believe. or no, the heart. I think they're the red leathers on the heart. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trim these close to the stitches, it says. So we're just going to do our trimming. I've got a couple of other designs already cut out. I need to get busy on those. I'd like to do that, the nativity pillow. I've got that all cut out. It seems like I've got another pillow cut out. I don't know what I got them cut out, and then I got busy or something, and I didn't get them a chance to make them. So we'll probably do some videos on those too. I think the nativity pillow is really pretty, and it doesn't look too hard. It looks like it's pretty basic. All right, so we're going to get the small watermelon done here. There. Looks like I need to trim just a little closer right there. There we go. All right, so let's put this back in, and then the next step is going to be the satin stitches, and I think it's just across the top, it looks like, just across the top up here on each one. So we'll get those going, and then the next steps are going to be the rind. Yeah, the rinds are going to be next. All right, so I'll be back in a moment, and we'll be ready for the next color. Okay, so we got our red satin stitches at the top. Now the next step is going to be, this is on page 8 in the instructions, and it's number 4. This is going to be the inner part of the watermelon rind, so it's going to be white. So I've got my white thread in, and it's going to do that, and then we're going to do the green part of the rind. Okay, so now we're going to do the green part of the rind. So I put in my fresh green 027, and we're ready for that, and it's going to do that along both sides. And then I think, oh yeah, I couldn't figure out what the charcoal thread was for, or the black thread. It's for the watermelon seeds. So that'll be the color that we'll use, the black. Do the watermelon seeds on the next step. Okay, we got the rinds done. That looks way better. I hadn't trimmed very close here, so it looks way better now because I had little red little fingers sticking out up here, but it looks much better now. All right. Now we're ready for the watermelon seeds, and those are going to be black. Okay, so the last step in this block is going to be, yes, the last step is going to be the Livin' the Sweet Life lettering. And this one, since I'm doing the USA version, they do in the blue. So I've got my gem blue in here, and it's going to do stitching, or Livin' the Sweet Life. Okay, so we're all done with the lettering. Isn't that cute? I really like that font. So Livin' the Sweet Life. So this block is completed. And so what we'll do, I'm going to do the next block, and I think it's the rocket block. Let me take a look here, turn the page here. And then we'll trim both of them at the same time. So let's go ahead and get ready to do the rocket block. Okay, so let's work on the rocket block. It's on page 10 of the instructions. And it also uses the wavy design, but I noticed that my waves are going up and down, which I think is good, but I probably should have chosen the other one, because I think if I do this one, my points of my wave are going to be going the opposite direction. So I kind of like them to match. So let's see if we can figure out how to do that here. All right, so I'm going to go back to wavy 3 and get my embroidery design, or my quilting design first. So let's go to wavy 3, and oops, second here. I must have already had it up. So I already have it up here. It's in PES, and then it was a 6x6. So this is going to be in an 8x8 hoop also, and it's going to finish 6x6. So I'm going to go get the 6x6 design. So I chose the first one, which it said horizontal, but then of course this block came in sideways like this. So then it's like this when it's right side up. So this one, the points are on the right hand side of the quilting. So I think I want the other one to be the same, but I noticed that, and they're going to be like in the little mini quilt, they're going to be like in opposite corners of each other, I believe. Let me look at the picture here real quick. I'm pretty sure they're in opposite corners. So I guess it wouldn't really matter if they were going opposite directions. So that actually might be okay. But this one then, if you can see this one, which is the one with I want them both to go up and down since this one's going up and down. But this one, the points of the quilting are on the left, and this one, the points are on the right. And this one goes, let's look in the picture here. This one goes in the bottom right, and this one, the rocket's going to go in the top left. So I don't know that it matters if they're the exact same. So maybe we'll leave them like this and just use the vertical one instead so that they're both going the same direction. But I think the points are going to be opposite of each other, but I don't know that that really matters because I think it'll look just fine. So we'll try that. All right, so we're going to use this vertical one instead. It does say horizontal. The actual wavy one that they used is number, let's see what number it is, 7. And I think it's more of a swirly one so that they're kind of going both directions in it. It's hard to see in the picture, but I just didn't happen to have that one. So I think this will look fine. So we'll use this one. I'm going to hit set. Then I'm going to hit add down here, and then let's go get the rocket. So the rocket, let's go back to my stick. Mini quilts. And then July, and go get the little rocket. All right. So then it'll be going up and down. The quilting will be going up and down on this one as well. So it looks good. All right, so this one is going to be that kind of minty green, and my color for this is, it's called light blue, but it's like, it's the number 1226. It's kind of a blue green for that. My background fabric also has my shape flex on it, and then let's bring the camera over here. And then my 2 small pieces that I need for this are going to be the white background and then the blue top of the rocket. So, and then there's shape flex on the back of both of these. It did recommend on all fabrics. So here's my pieces then for my block. All right, so we need to do the quilting first. So we're going to start with our batting. So I did put my blue thread in, my light blue thread that I'm going to use for my quilting. And we're going to do our placement line for the batting as usual for the quilting. Let me get my chunk of batting ready here. I laid it back on the floor and it's covered in pieces of thread again as usual. All the thread picked off of it. So we can be ready to do this block. These blocks are really fun, and I just love the font on that, Living the Sweet Life. That's such a pretty font. This one's just the rocket, I think. Yeah, this one's just the rocket. All right, so then we'll put our batting down here over the placement line. And again, if you have the smaller hoop, if you have some software, take that, the next 2 lines would be steps number 3 and 4 out so that it would fit in your 6x10 hoop. These are all going to be, all 4 of these blocks are the same size, so they are going to be, the design is 6.5 by 6.5 with the quilting. I was so surprised when I opened the book and there was only four blocks in this month. I'm like, oh, that'll be fun and easy. We'll do 2 blocks in this video, and then we'll do 2 blocks in the second video, and then a third video we'll be putting it together. So I like to break it up, and I also like to do the entire project, so that way you can see the whole thing and you can sew along. If you need help during the whole thing, you can just pause and work a lot right along with me. All right, so now we're going to trim our batting close to the stitches, and then it's going to do the placement line for the fabric. Okay. About to have help. My cat has been out here trying to help me all afternoon, so we'll see if she behaves herself. She's always helping. All right, so there's got our batting trimmed, and then step number 3 is going to be that placement line for the fabric, and this is the one that you would want to take out if you have that smaller, the first one that you would take out for that smaller hoop. She doesn't like the embroidery machine coming and hitting her, though. I have her little wool mat covered up with the cutting materials and stuff for this project, so she's not very happy with me. All right, so then we're going to lay our fabric down over the placement line here, and then we're going to tack that down. Again, I got the shape flex on the back of my background fabric also. We're going to tack this down, and then step number 5 will be the quilting. All right, that thread matches pretty well. All right, so then we'll get our, okay, so now we're going to do the quilting. So we'll get the quilting started here, and I'll be right back when that's done so we can start the rocket. Okay, so we got all the quilting done. Now, as I was looking at this, it is indeed the little wave bumps are going the opposite directions on these blocks because I chose one that was horizontal and one that was vertical. So I should probably have chosen the 2 vertical ones, but I think that'll look just fine though, because they're going to be on opposite corners of the little quilt. So this one's down in the bottom left-hand corner or bottom right-hand corner, and this is in the top left-hand. So they're going to be going opposite of each other, but I think that looks just fine. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next step, which is going to be, whoops, I just dropped the fabric on my foot. For the background of the rocket, which is going to be white. So I put my white thread in, and the first step in the actual instructions on page 10 is going to be the placement line for the rocket base, which is going to be this white. Then we're going to lay it down, and then we'll do the top of the rocket. So there's my rocket base here. I've got the shape flex on the back, and I'm going to lay that, oh, I can't see it very well. I'm going to lay that over my placement line here. Like that. And this is a little bit directional fabric, so I'm going to try to keep it straight. All right, and then we're going to tack it down. So the next step is going to be the tack down to that. Having a little trouble with my camera today. I don't know what's going on here. There we go. It's a little bit better. It's going to go around it twice, and then it says to trim it. And then we're going to go to the top of the rocket. Okay, so we're going to trim this. Close to the stitches. Okay, whoops, I didn't do very close on that one. Let me try it again. There we go. All right, and then we're going to do the placement line for the top of the rocket, and that's going to be my blue. So I'm going to get my gem blue here and put that on next for that. I still like to match my fabrics with the placement line and the tack down lines. I do have every now and then I've gotten caught that I didn't do that, and then I had thread that showed through. So I just still do that most of the time, just for safety. You don't have to, but some of the overcasts, you know, like instead of satin stitches, they do like a decorative stitch, and sometimes that shows through if you don't have the right color threads. So, all right, so then we're going to lay this over the top, and this one's also a little directional, so I'm going to try to keep it straight, and then we're going to tack that one down. And then I think we're going to go to the stripes, which are stitched. So we're going to put red in next, I think. All right. So we're going to do the trimming here. Looks like I got a tail. Do the trimming. And this one. All right, so there's the top. So now the next color, it is going to be the stripes. So I'm going to get my red again. And again, with the rocket, I don't know if you can see it very well. Let me pull the camera back a little bit. You can see that there's 2 rows of colors, and so they do have one for the USA version and one for the Canadian version on this block as well. So they're just slightly different. They didn't put the blue on the Canadian rocket, they just made it red and white, and on ours we have some blues. So we're going to be doing step number 5 down here on page 10, and it's going to be the red stripes for the rocket. So let's get our red up here. All right, put my back in after trimming. All right, so these are going to be the stripes, and this will take a few minutes, so I'll go ahead and pause the camera for a minute while this is going, and then I think we move on to the sparks at the bottom after the stripes. Okay, so the next 2 parts, this is step number 6 and 7 on page 10 of the instructions. The first step is going to be the sparks that are going to be down here underneath the rocket, and those are done in white, but then step number 7 is going to be the outline of the rocket, and that's done in white. So I think I'll just do both of those parts, and then I'll be back to do the last. I think that's the last step. The last step is going to be, is a blue. So I'll do these 2 steps, and then I will be back to do, whoops, helps Jan if I thread the machine. Do you guys ever do that you just hit go and you forgot to thread it? So it's going to do the sparks, and then I'm going to do the outline. So they're separate steps, but they're both supposed to be in white. So I'm just going to do them in white. And then I'll be back in a moment to do the blue part down here. And then I think that's the end of this block. Gosh, these are going fast. Okay, so we're ready for the last color in this one, and it's going to do the satin stitches around the top of the rocket, and then it's got some little rocket blasts down here also. So that's going to be the my gem blue to go around that, and then we'll be ready for some trimming. All right, so we're all done with this one. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. It looks like I got a couple of little strings to trim here if I can stop dropping my scissors on the floor. All right, so that is so cute, and it's done in that kind of minty green with the rocket on it. It's very striking. It's a little hard to see on the video probably. My video looks a little dark. But anyway, so that one's all done. So now if you give me a moment, I'm going to go ahead and move my camera over so that we can do the trimming for the first 2, and then we'll end this video for part 1 and go on to the last 2 blocks for part 2. So I'll be right back. Okay, so both of these are going to be trimmed to 6.5 by 6.5. So I just have my 6.5 by 6.5 inch orange pop ruler out, and I've got my rotary cutter here. I really like using the Martelli roundabout to do these because it makes it so much easier to turn this. And this mat and turntable really turn because it's like a lazy Susan. It just turns really easily. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, and you can kind of see my outline here, my little basting line. So we're going to kind of get that lined up to help us get it kind of centered in there. That looks pretty good. All right, and then I'm going to turn it. And then with the orange pop ruler, I like to take my rotary cutter and I like to work in a little bit and I pull back to the corner. So if I start in a little bit and then pull back, I'm able to keep my rotary cutter nicely out, against my ruler. These, when you're cutting on the inside of these, they are a little unfamiliar feeling, when you first start using them. So just be deliberate and take your time. You can also take like a pen, marking pen, and mark it, and then you could on the inside, and then you could use a regular ruler and rotary cutter too. So, all right, so let's make sure we get these lined up. There we go. All right. But with the basting stitches around the outside edge, it's very easy to line these up. All right. So we get a second here. Take this off because I've got a little spot that didn't cut. All right. There we go. Isn't that pretty? I really like that that quilting design. I wasn't sure. I just picked one that was similar, so that's really pretty. So let's do the other one here. Here's the rocket. So we'll do the rocket. It's going to be the same. So we're going to get this lined up with that little basting line that's there around the outside edge. Kind of get it centered the best we can. Looks pretty good. And then again, I'm going to pull this, I'm going to turn this. Now I am left-handed, so I am using my left hand to cut. So I'm going to go in and push down and pull back to the corner, because that actually seems, and you always want to have a pretty sharp rotary blade when you're doing this too. But these Martelli roundabouts really make this much easier, because see, I can just turn it around and it just works really well. I'm going to pull this up a little bit though. This is a pretty good size block, so second, I'm a little off. There we go. All right. And then go to the side. Hopefully you can still see me. So I pushed it, didn't I? Sometimes I get a little overzealous. I have to take my time when I do this. I have to be a little careful with these, because I have cut things like I've gone right through my block before, and it's like, whoops. So, all right, there. Oh my gosh, isn't that cute? I really like that one, actually. I wasn't sure. It looked a little plain at first, but I thought, oh gosh, I really like that. And I love that quilting pattern. So since you can see when I hold them up like this, you can see my little points are going opposite directions, but one's going to be here and one's going to be here. I think this is how they're in the quilt, like that. Turn this a little bit for you so you can see it. They're going to be like this. So if they're going opposite directions, actually it looks kind of neat. So I kind of like that. All right, so there's our first two blocks. And we talked about all the fabrics and everything and the threads and all that in this video. So thank you so much for joining me for part 1 of the July Kimberbell Mini Quilt. And we're going to come back for video number 2 to do the second 2 blocks in this video. The third part will be the assembly. So thank you so much for joining me. And if you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up on YouTube. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate that as well. So thank you, everybody. And I'll be back with part 2 of the last 2 blocks in our little mini quilt. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.